Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to thank all of you for being here today. Mr. Leshy, I'd like to ask a couple questions just for clarification. In your written testimony, you made a comment that no one likes to be regulated. Could you tell me a little bit about that? I mean, are you, and I guess I need to know, are you personally regulated in your own industry and what you do?
Oh, sure.
Give me an example.
There are also, I mean, if you've ever worked in a university, you know there are all sorts of rules and regulations about what you can and can't do. I'm regulated when I drive, for example.
No, not when you drive. When you teach. You're a teacher?
Yeah.
Okay. How are you regulated?
I have to show up for class at certain
That's a regulation?
hours. I have, absolutely.
That's a regulation that you have to show up to get a paycheck?
Yeah. Yes, it is. I have to grade exams. I have to turn my grades in on
time. No, sir. You're compensated for that. I want you to give me an example of a government regulation, okay, that you have to live with. Those aren't, no. Those are job responsibilities. You accepted the job for that pay. That is not a regulation. Give me an example of a regulation you have to deal with.
I have to recycle waste paper. How's that? We're in California, remember. So
you have to recycle as an individual, or you have to recycle because you're
part of the job.
I'm sorry?
It's part of the job.
Part of your job. And what kind of paper? You talking about your exam paper?
We produce lots of paper, believe me.
Okay, so that's the best example you can give me of a regulation?
Well, it is an example.
Is that the best example?
I'd have to ponder.
Give me another one. My point is this gentleman has absolutely no understanding about the regulatory pressures that private industry is under. Okay, and so your testimony today was all about regulation, and you made a statement that's not true. You made a statement that no one likes to be regulated. And sir, I can deal with regulation. There is good regulation. So to make that statement is not true, and based on someone who obviously all you have to deal with as regulation is to recycle paper, you don't have a clear understanding of what regulation is and how damaging it can be on those like the gentleman sitting next to you that work 80 hours in a work week, and I find that undermines the credibility of your testimony here today. And I also said that, you know, the price of gold, that obviously you wanted to credit, you know, regulation through the federal government as the beaming reason that gold is at $1,800 per ounce, I think is also naive. And I'm bothered by that. Let me ask you this. What is good about mining?
I actually am a big admirer of the mining industry. By the way, if I could just circle back for a minute, I did not say that government regulation is responsible for the price of gold being $1,800 an ounce. I actually could almost make the opposite argument, which is that the reason the price of gold is so high is because people don't have confidence in our government to make the right policies. I think that's probably the single biggest factor. So, but in terms of the mining industry, you know, the mining industry, I have great admiration for it. It is a very successful industry by almost any measure, and it has been very successful at adapting to environmental regulation. As I said in my statement, the reason you know, we have really in the last 30 years regulated the mining industry to try to prevent, for the most part, successfully prevent the kind of environmental disasters that have marked our past. At the same time, the industry, you know, grumbling naturally, but accommodating to that regulation, it has thrived economically. It has also adapted to the pressures, the cost-cutting pressures, as we just talked about, because I lived in Arizona when the mining industry reduced its employment figures by about 80% or so, if memory serves, by mechanization. You know, it became a very technical industry. It laid off a lot of people, and it made a lot of money doing it. And that's part of the way the free enterprise system works, and I'm a big believer in it.
Well, let me say this. You just said you make a lot of money by laying off a lot of people. My family, our family has a 60-year-old business, and I know of no time in the history of our family business that we have made money at times we were letting employees off. Letting them go, saying goodbye to them, and so I also appreciate your comments about, you know, the financial rate of return for property that the American people own. I just wish that that same philosophy would be consistent when we talk about harvesting timber in our national forests that the American people own. This administration would rather that timber rot, sir, and that bothers me that the American people have assets that we can't get to. So I just wish there would be some consistency. So I yield back.